Assalamualaikum, my name is Safi Hazim bin Haris, and in today's video I'm going to talk about task B for the subject, which is English for Professional Interactions. This is my student ID and this is all of my group members. So first of all, I'm going to read the summary of the Crush, which is the short film that we had chose. So the Crush follows the life of Adil, which is a young boy who developed a crush towards his teachers. And the film starts with Adil giving his teacher a ring. So in theory, he is proposing to her, in which the teacher says that she will think about. With Adil being at such young age and innocent, with pure soul, this makes him feel wanted and special. He believes that he's going to marry this woman despite the obvious obstacles that he's in. So the story continues to Adil's obsessions until he threatens to kill her teacher's fiance. So because this is all because he sees that the fiance didn't treat his teacher good enough, and the tension builds throughout the film as you watch Arthur struggle with doing what his heart wants, ending the film on a high note as he walks away with his teachers. So here I provide the YouTube link for the short film, which is The Crush. So I'm going to answer question 1. Okay, question 1. In question 1, we need to break down the components of communication in one scene, in one chosen scene. So this is the scene that I choose, and we have 7 components of communication, which is the sender, receiver, message, channel, feedback, environment, and noise. So first of all, the sender, which is the person that initiate the conversation usually, which is the Miss Purdy in this case, and the receiver is Ardell, and the message is the message is here, and the channel is the channel is how this message is conveyed, how is the message being communicated. So okay, and then the feedback is how the receiver received the message. Did he understand it or did he not? Okay, and the environment is the environment that the conversation carried, and the noise is the miscommunication that happens, the noise that just interrupt the communications. So first of all, Miss Purdy said to Ardil, "You okay, Ardil? It is spoken and positive. Have a positive feedback in the class." Ardil replied with giving Miss Purdy ring, which is non-verbal communications. It also has a positive feedback, meaning that Miss Purdy understand what Ardil is trying to do. And then Miss Purdy replied, "Oh Ardil, that's lovely. It is spoken and have a positive feedback in the class." Ardil and then Ardil said, "I use a week's pocket money," which is spoken and have a positive feedback. And then Miss Purdy said, "Oh why? That's far too much. You didn't have to." It is spoken and have a positive feedback. And Ardil then said, "I did. It's important that you know how I feel about you." It is spoken and have a positive feedback, which means Miss Purdy understand what Ardil is trying to say. And then Miss Purdy replied with, "Well, this is very special, and I'll treasure it always. Does it mean we're engaged?" It is spoken and have a positive feedback, but it also has a noise, which is the poor communication skills that Miss Purdy, which means that Miss Purdy didn't phrase the words well enough, and Ardil thought that they are really engaged, because Ardil replied with, "Well, I hadn't thought about it. If you wanted to, I suppose," to Miss Purdy, which is spoken and have a positive feedback uh, by Miss Purdy. Miss Purdy then said to Ardil, "Well, that's very sweet, and I'll certainly give it some thought. You have a good weekend, okay?" It is spoken and have a positive feedback, and Ardil replied with, "Yes, miss, I definitely will," which is also spoken and have a positive feedback. In this conversation, we can see that how Ardil thought that Miss Purdy really meant what she is saying, but in truth, Miss Purdy just say this because he's a kid and it's far too complicated to explain it to him, and he just goes along with it. He just go along with what Ardell is trying to say. So based on the table above, this is the explanation of the table above, and the explanation is the sender is someone who is to speak, which is Miss Purdy, and the receiver is someone who she's talking to, which is Ardell, and vice versa, which means Ardell, when Ardell reply, Ardell is the sender and the receiver is Miss Purdy. And then the next column we have message, which is the dialogue from the short film. The feedback, which is how the communication is being communicated through. I'm sorry. The feedback is the communication, whether the receiver understand it or not. So if it's understand, then it will be a positive reply, and if he or she did not understand, which means it is a negative feedback. And then we have environment, which where the scene is carried on, and the noise of communication, which is the miscommunication of a or a disruption in the communication that happens between characters. Okay, I think that is all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Narni Azira binti Muhammad Rosli. Okay, based on the table above, the example communication part is between Ardell and Pierce. The sender is the someone who speak, which is Ardell, and the receiver is Pierce, that someone who is Ardell talking to. The message is the dialogue from the short film. The feedback is way of communication. Either the receiver, Pierce, reply the message or not. If it is positive, it means he replied the message from other. If negative, means Pierce did not reply the message. Environment where the scene is happening, which is in a burden building. There no noise of communication skill between both of them. Next, another example communication is between Miss Purdy and Pierce. The sender is the someone who speaks, which is Miss Purdy, and the receiver is someone who is she talking to, Pierce. Message is the dialogue from the short film. The feedback is way of communication between both of them is negative, means Pierce did not reply the message. Environment where the scene is happening, which is in a apartment building. The noise of communication skill between both of them is when Pierce is less attention because of he feels scared and can't focus the message room Miss Purdy. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Fikri bin Muhammad. So I will continue for the question number 2, which is identify the type of noise that we can find in our short film. So first type of noise that we can identify is psychological noise, which occur in a person's mind, such as frustration, anger, happiness, or depression. So from the short film, we can see the scene from 0.20 until 0.57. It shows low attention, and number 2, 6.42 until 7.52. It shows low interest, and next one from 5.20 until 6.15. It shows low motivation and interest, and the last scene that we can identify from the short film is from 11.4 until 12.25. It shows a big tense situation. So next type of noise that we can identify is physical, or we can call it environmental noise, which external and unnecessary sound that obstacle to effective communication. For example, raining sound, fans, loud music, vehicle sound, or barking dog. So from the short film, we can identify one, which from 3.54 until 4.32. It should distract the receiver, causing them not to hear the sender's message properly. which conversation between Miss Purdy and Ardal's mother. So from that scene, we can hear a vehicle noise, people walking, and some bell ring. For the next type of noise is semantic noise, which confusion over the meaning of words such as jargon word, mispronunciation, unique word, and the language that we use. So, uh, from the video, from the short film, uh, it almost most of the scene contain semantic noise. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Aisyah binti Ahmadi. I will present for question 3. Based on the film, observe a situation, think about the advantage and disadvantage of different channels. Write the advantage and disadvantage of different communication channels. We select the scene at the minute from 10:50 to 12:20. From the scene, we found two different channels of communication, verbal and non-verbal. The advantage of verbal is that the message is delivered more clearly and is easier to understand by the recipient and the speed of feedback. Whereas the disadvantage of verbal is that there is no place for correction once the message is sent, and it creates misunderstandings. The advantage for non-verbal are impact and effective, sending message faster and reducing time wastage, whereas the disadvantage for non-verbal are may distort information, long conversations are not possible, and meaning varies across cultures. Thank you.